let's move on to some would say the more competitive side of football, the NFC. And starting with the heavyweights of the NFC, let's actually start with your favorite conference, the NFC West. Heavyweight conference. Could be the most difficult conference in all of football. I will start because I know you want to talk about the Rams. So let me start by saying repeat division champions, the Niners are going to win the division. In my opinion, they're going to be 14-2. They don't. I know they lose a couple pieces on the defense, but they still have Nick Bosa. I mean, Nick Bosa is a game changer. Richard Sherman's still there, and I know he's not the same cornerback he was in Seattle, but he's still one of the smartest cornerbacks. He's not the fastest, but he knows how to read, and I love Richard Sherman still. The offense is the same, except for Matt Breida is leaving, but they were never past. I mean, they were some run heavy, but I can still see.
They were very run heavy.
If Deebo Samuel comes back healthy, and he does not regress any from that foot injury, he should be fine. This team should still be 14-2 on the defense alone. I don't even think, going through it, I don't have them in the Super Bowl at 14-2. They missed the Super Bowl, which just goes to show that their offense is going to be the problem again. Second place, kind of like last year, the Seahawks. I had them, and this is a controversial pick at 13-3. I always love the Seahawks, and I've already said Russell Wilson's the second best quarterback in the NFL. 8 of those wins are from Russell Wilson alone. You add a receiver core of, you have Philip Dorsett now, you have Tyler Lockett, you have DK Metcalf. I love Metcalf. He's a monster of a receiver. I think he's like 6'5", 6'6", 200-some pounds, and he's like fast as heck. He's a monster of a receiver. Defense has Bobby Wagner. You know about Bobby Wagner, man. He is the best linebacker in the NFL.
I know Bobby Wagner.
You know Bobby Wagner. You got Griffin at linebacker, so there's still pieces there. They're not the same. They do lose Clowney, so I think that keeps them from being that best team in the NFC West. But they're still going to be 13-3, make the playoffs easy there. Now, it was a tough decision. Should I put the Cardinals or the Rams at third? Don't you cry too much. I had the Rams at third. And I actually had them going 9-7, repeating the same.
I really thought you were going to go with Cardinals third.
As much as I would want this, I think they might regress. I have them going the same record as last year, 9-7. They lose a lot of pieces. They lost Dante Fowler. They lose Corey Littleton. They lose Eric Weddle. All on the defense side alone. You lose Todd Gurley, and yes, I know he did not have a good season last year, but he was amazing 2 years ago when he went to the Super Bowl. You lose Brandon Cooks. So it's a different team. You still have the pieces. You still have 2 good receivers in Woods and Kupp. Tyler Higbee has emerged as a threat, which is why they were so willing to give away Cooks, because Higbee has turned into a really good tight end. Your offensive line, and you can talk about it, is the big question mark. How will they hold up? And your running game. Who's going to step up and become that number one? Is it your new rookie in Cam Akers? Is it Malcolm Brown? We don't know that. And their defense, other than Jalen Ramsey, and of course the monster that is the best defensive player in the league, Aaron Donald. There is.
Oh wait! ESPN. Someone on ESPN said he was average at stopping the run. So just wanted to correct you there.
I can tell.
As someone called Aaron Donald average.
Listen,
average.
Aaron Donald, I can admit it. I'm not a Rams fan, but he's the best defensive player in the league. It's no question. This man is a monster. Number 2 is probably Stephon Gilmore. But Donald's number 1. No question. He changes the aspect of the line. And last place is the Cardinals at 7-9. But they could easily switch with the Rams. Both those teams could switch. All these teams are capable of winning 10 games this season if they want to. But the Rams and the Cardinals are both capable of only being a 6-win season. Cardinals adding DeAndre Hopkins makes this team so much fun to watch. The trio of Hopkins, Kirk, and Fitzgerald is going to be a very fun receiver core. You still have, I cannot think of his name. The old Miami running back is now in Arizona. I cannot think. Kenyon Drake. He's a solid running back. The defense still needs to improve a little bit. I do love their pick of Isaiah Simmons, the kind of do-it-all linebacker safety mix. He will be a good plug-in, instant day one starter for Cardinals, and 7-9. But the problem with them is their division. if they weren't in the NFC West, let's say you move them to the NFC East, which geographically makes no sense, but let's say you move them there, they're not going to lose 5 games in the division. They're going to win 4 at least. So that changes their season if they're in a different conference. But that's my take, Ashton. I mean, let's see where you got the Rams. I'm interested.
I'll start from the bottom of the division and work my way up. At bottom, I have the Arizona Cardinals at a respectable or terrible 10-6.
Wow. So you do agree with 10 wins for every team, maybe?
I'll go into it at the end. I have the 49ers at 10-6. I have the Seahawks at 10-6, and I have the LA Rams at 11-5.
Winning?
Yeah.
Ashton, your bias is showing.
Let me preface that with a few things. So I have I will say this. I fully admit that the Rams could be anywhere from a 8-win team to a 12-win team.
Try 6-win team. They're that they could be
that. No, Sean McVay isn't that bad. He can work with a bad O-line. He can work with a bad. So don't.
My problem, Ashton.
This is my time. My time. Let me finish.
Okay, fine.
There's a reason why I have this division so close. I do think the Arizona Cardinals made a significant step up with their offense. Hopkins will be very good for them, especially against the bad teams that they barely didn't beat last time. And they'll be good enough to pick off a few good teams. But the problem is they're facing defenses that are kind of really good against the pass. Like the Rams, who did they acquire last year? Jalen Ramsey. And they have a really good safety core. They have John Johnson III, who put up really, really good numbers when he was in the full season in 2018. And our second-year safety, Taylor Rapp, he had a really great season for a freshman safety. So going into it, the Cardinals aren't going to be able to win those critical division games. With the San Francisco 49ers, I think they have a even worse Super Bowl slump than the Chiefs. Their talent on defense will keep them in games and win them a few close ones against good teams, but I don't think that will be enough to win the division. They lost a lot. I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo will win them a lot of close games when their defense isn't as stacked as it was last year. It's still stacked. It's just not as stacked. And I just see them losing close games. And I think Seahawks, what can I say? I think Russell Wilson is the best quarterback in the NFL right now just because of his experience. I would say talent-wise, Mahomes has an edge over him, but because of experience, he knows how to manage games a little bit better. That's the reason why the Chiefs got knocked out in 2019, or in 2018, sorry. Or was it 2019 season when they lost to the Patriots? They got knocked out of that game because of management of the game. And Mahomes wasn't as good as he was last year. He's getting better every year, but I just think Russell Wilson has an edge over him. And the problem with them is, like you noticed, a few of their defensive key playmakers lost a step. I don't even think, have they re-signed Clowney? They still haven't re-signed him. So, did he sign? Okay, but so the whole problem with that is he was the edge rusher and he got a lot of pressure when that defense last year still wasn't gelled a lot. Their offense won them a lot of games. So I have them doing a not so shabby 10-6, and the reason why I think the LA Rams, a lot of the people you cited as major losses weren't really big key pieces last year. Like Eric Weddle didn't play every game, and not to mention he wasn't that good last year. And we replaced him with John Johnson, who had better stats the year before. and a rookie who played beside Eric Weddle and had a lot better stats than Eric Weddle. Um, I mean, a lot of our losses did suck, but we're going to a different defensive scheme. That's another gray area that I don't know how they're going to do. They're going more Vic Fangio style because that's Brandon Staley, our defensive coordinator, is a Vic Fangio guy. And Broncos had a good defense last year, and we'll see if he can work that magic on the Rams because our defense was very hot and cold last year. And because we have a lot of great players. I mean, when you have the best defensive player in football, it's hard not to have at least an average defense. And I feel like they'll have at least average defense. They're the only problem is the middle linebacking core, and they'll probably do a lot of nickel and have a kind of like mid safety, half middle linebacker, and I think they're going to try to mitigate a lot of that weakness. They're still going to be susceptible to the run. Our nose tackle that was supposed to start, Ashawn Robinson, he got COVID, and he's going to be out for 6 weeks or 6 games. So that's going to hurt us against the run. We'll be susceptible to that, but I feel like we have Jalen Ramsey, and he is going to help us button up our secondary. I think we're going to be I think we'll be in the top 5 in pass coverage, but like in the bottom 10 for run defense. With offense, it wasn't as huge of a loss losing Woods as I thought it was going to be, because he didn't play that much. He played like 5-6 games last year, and we drafted a guy that now it's coming out where Jalen Ramsey said this guy's going to be star, and Jalen Ramsey can kind of spot a good wide receiver too. Mm-hmm. Jalen Ramsey has played against the best. I mean, he covered DeAndre Hopkins and stopped him from getting above 100 yards. So that's no feat, and I just really think Van Jefferson could be the real thing. The running committee, I have no clue how that's going to work out. If it works out just average, our O-line is average, and we have a good throwing game, and Jared Goff has proven if he has a basic O-line and decent receivers, he can throw a really good game. And I just feel like it'll be good enough not to get above 11 wins, but to get just there.
If Jared Goff is forced to throw as much as he did last season, you guys will not make the playoffs. Jared Goff is he is a game manager kind of quarterback, meaning you have to have a good running back, to at least a above average running back to supplement him. And we don't know. The Rams aren't proven. We don't know their running game. We don't know their O-line. But last year, he threw over 600 passes, the most of his career. Threw about the same amount of yards as he did the year prior, but threw 4 more interceptions and 10 less touchdowns. If he throws more, the Rams cannot win that way. You need to have a better run game to supplement him in order to make it.
And that's the whole ball game for the Rams, is if their O-line can button up, they can get a lot more yards per carry on the run, then the play action will be there. And, I just have a lot of faith in Sean McVay. He hasn't he hasn't turned the ship in the wrong direction yet. Last year, even when we had a lot of things going against us, we still had a 9-win season and should have had more. And, a lot of people don't remember, we beat the Seahawks twice last year practically if it wasn't for a missed field goal at the last second. So it's like we beat good teams last year. We also lost terribly, but we had our good games and good moments. The question is all that chemistry there?